Alright, what's going on, everybody? It's Alan Thomas, aka Shad Assassins, and today I'm doing another, I guess you would call it a comic study. Today, as you can see on the screen, if I don't have my head in the way somewhere, I'm going to be looking at specifically the old school Mortal Kombat comics. I don't know why I read some of these as a kid, but it's been so long ago, I don't really remember them. Considering that these comic books and like Mortal Kombat in general is such a big influence of mine, I think it will probably be a good idea to go back and look at some of these. So here we go. About to just dive right in. See, this is the first edition of the Blood and Thunder comics. I actually have read the almost like, I don't know what you would call it, maybe like a prequel. I don't know what the actual like label of it, what the specific comic was called, but I think it was like a prequel to the Blood and Thunder comics. I'm not reading that just because I don't want to. There's nothing really. It's a very random comic that just gives backstory to all of the characters in the story. So I'm not going to go through that. I'm just going to start with the first issue, which at this point I pretty much have a handling of Mortal Kombat anyways. I don't need to see a prequel. So this is going to be quite new for me. I've actually never seen this cover before. Looks pretty cool. For a second, I was trying to decipher like which one is Scorpion and which one is Sub-Zero. Obviously, the one with no eyebrows and no pupils would be Scorpion. The reason why it was even a question was just because of how they were shaded and colored very similarly. But I guess this is slightly more blue than the other one. Already, we're at the very beginning, and I'm already only focused on Scorpion and Sub-Zero. Let's move on. I love the way that Shang Tsung is drawn in the clouds in the back, though. I don't know why that just looks so cool to me. God, I love the art style in these comics. God, it's so weird to me. And I haven't even started the comic, and I'm already just picking up on stuff. The way that, like, I get that manga's a simplified method of drawing, in a sense, like a manga style, which is not entirely true either, but that's the perception out there, because there are a lot of very photorealistic mangas out there that look incredible. But by and large, most mangas are a very simplified style of drawing. But I don't know why American comics don't really have a stigma about the way that they look when so many American comic books look similar. Like, this looks like such a 90s style of comic books, and you could even stretch that to just later on, but like it has that same American comic book look and feel to it. And while it may be slightly more realistic than say a lot of manga may look, it still doesn't necessarily look realistic. So like I don't get why there's certain stigma for certain styles of comic as opposed to other ones. It's like an art style is an art style. It's just gonna look how it looks. Only matters if it's good or not to the person looking at it, I guess. Also, this is definitely 90s because the mullets, like, hopefully I'm not taking up too much of the screen myself, but this mullet on Liu Kang is insane. This is crazy. Also, before I even get started, I'm going to get this out of the way now because it's going to piss me off later. The style of Scorpion and Sub-Zero with these little points in the top of the mask, I never understood what that was about, but I always hated it. Because I just didn't get it. I don't know why they have those points in their mask. Like, it's like, why? Like, it almost looks like somebody just cut the tops off of the Batman cowl. Like, it just looks crazy to me. I don't know why that was a design choice. And it actually, they designed them that way in Mortal Kombat 4, which there was a lot of things about the look of Mortal Kombat 4 that was interesting to say the least, but I've just never really been a fan of that. While they're still my favorite two characters. Kind of look like the guards from the courtyard back here. Almost sort of look like Black Panther in this panel. Oh, I thought he snapped his neck for a second. Or like he snapped his neck or ripped it off or something, but he just slammed their heads together. Okay. Wow. Very creepy image of Shang Tsung here. John Tobias, editorial consultant. That's great. Have the guy that pieced together the story of this to actually help, or the story of the source material to help with the comic. It's not a bad idea. There are always just these giant oversized boats for Mortal Kombat. This is so 90s. This woman back here almost looks like Sindel, by the way. I love how dark this looks. I'm not gonna lie, I almost had the idea, um, and this is I had the idea, but this is stupid to say out loud because I'm doing my comic digitally, so it's not gonna matter. But I had the idea of doing my comic on a black background just because it's darker in nature. Doing it on a black background as opposed to doing it on like the way these lines in between are like white, doing it with a black backdrop, almost how I did Shadow Assassins back in the day. It was sort of ridiculous for me to do it. Well, I don't know, maybe it helped just because of tone, but I thought about doing that with my next comic. Oh, skipping too far ahead. Oh my god, is this the prequel comic? Did I really just? I think I did. And they got Sonya chasing Kano, so yeah, this has got to be a prequel. Who is this guy? That can't be Jax. So who is this? Now I'm curious. I said I wasn't going to be reading pages, but it doesn't say. It's just a guy with metal arms. It's not Jax. Oh, excuse me. He has a metal arm, so it's clearly not supposed to be Jax. Because I was going to ask the question, like, why is Jax not a black guy? But he's not Jax, so it's me jumping the gun. Because obviously one arm is metal and the other one isn't. So the Liu Kang's mullet, I can't get over that. Like, it's, how 90s does this look? I keep coming back to this page. This page looks awesome. I'm not gonna lie. If this was a character in a Mortal Kombat game, I would almost be inclined to wonder, like, how does he play? Because I would probably pick him. I don't know if he would be like a main or anything, but I would definitely play this character. Like, he looks cool, and he's just a throwaway in this comic. Was he a guy that I guess was in a previous tournament? Okay, so it's two fighting monks who merge their powers into a singular body, and this is what they become. Who, by the way, for the record, looks fantastic. Like, that is an awesome design. And boots that come all the way up to his knees. That's crazy. It's a very cool looking page, I guess, for establishing this character. Or doing like a badass image of him. This is the smoke clearing and all the flames and stuff on it. Like, that looks really cool. I don't know what is happening here. I'm assuming he's backflipping. Okay, and Kano's pimp smacking people. Wait, the hell? They're on the boat now? So maybe this isn't the prequel. Okay, so that was Kano escaping onto the boat that Sonya followed him on. Gotcha. This is now starting to make sense. I was sitting here wondering earlier, or maybe at a different location. They may still not be on the boat, but that's what it looked like Kano was doing earlier. That's a very it's an insane position for Johnny Cage's leg to be in. And foot. Okay, Kano's unconscious. Sub-Zero. And Hydro. Rare appearance of a different Link Weight Ninja. I remember rumors as a kid that Hydro was an actual character in the games. He was just hidden. The way people would always make up Mortal Kombat myths and stories of characters that didn't actually exist. Oh my god, I think I may have actually read this as a kid. Or not read this, but I've seen this as a kid. Now that I continue to look at these pages, I may have actually seen this comic. If I'm not mistaken, this may be the comic where Scorpion threatens to kill Sub-Zero and sort of has him up by the, I don't know, by his outfit, I guess. He's holding him up by his neck like this, and he's threatening to kill him in a tournament. I remember seeing that when I was like 4. Yep, I believe this is it. I definitely remember this now. That looks awesome. This looks so simple, but looks so cool to me. What the hell? Okay, that's Scorpion teleporting. Trying to follow along with the pages now. See, I said I wasn't going to sit up here and just read the comic, but I like how they drew ears, like faint ears on the mask. You rarely see that on ninja costumes, but I don't know why that's funny to me. Okay, I think the thing that caught my attention on this page, I was trying to figure out whose arm this was. Now, I will say this. There is something to be said for, I don't know, I don't want to start scrutinizing like professional artwork. But like getting comic book advice about placement, and even I've done this and said this in the past. Like you talk about the placement of panels and how you want the reader's eye to flow through the page. This page is all over the place, but it's like I'm still intently reading the pages. Now maybe that split second to actually like stop to figure out what was going on and intently pay attention to what I was reading. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it made me pay attention more to the story. And so I don't know, maybe sometimes quote unquote rules of comics are too like overly adhered to at times. Maybe sometimes you can sort of just break that mold and see what happens. Yeah, like this one, your eye is directed all over the place. Because like they even have numerous panels where the speech bubbles are pointed even in opposite directions of the actual page. Or like this one here, you look at Sonya, you look up at the two Sub-Zeros, and then you go back to reading the rest of the page. Even though this is directing your eye back. I don't know. I'm thinking too much right now. And I think the biggest point I can come with at the moment is that none of this type of stuff matters because it's like it looks cool, so I'm just gonna read anyways. That's why I say maybe the rules that we sort of get told when it comes to making comics, like it's okay to be broken under some certain circumstances. I still don't know who the hell this guy is or is supposed to be. Old Shang Tsung. Okay, highlight all the fighters. 6 people. Oh, Raiden wouldn't be in the list. Okay, I'm thinking too much again. Um, that Goro looks pretty awesome, by the way. I love how people pull this type of stuff off, where they get away with doing stuff like this. My dumbass making comics will actually, I won't put in a ton of detail if things are far away, but I will still put enough in there for you to like try to make out who's what and what's going on and whatnot. But here they just literally did silhouettes because everything's in the distance. Like they didn't draw anything. These boats are a silhouette, and then these people walking back here are silhouettes. Just because of the goatee on him and the hair and stuff on this character and his size, I can tell that that's Goro and Shang Tsung. So they pulled off what they were trying to pull off with absolutely like very little detail. And there's Raiden. It's odd that they have the Mortal Kombat emblem in reverse. Is that backwards? Or am I tripping right now? Okay, no, it's backwards. Alright. Very interesting. It was just a sketch. It doesn't matter anyways. Oh, there's numerous ones. Okay. I didn't do this today to be looking at sketches, but I don't know. It's fascinating. Scorpion with the spear. Goro and Shang Tsung in the back. Okay. Wow. Sub-Zero's about to die, according to this cover. Wow. That looks awesome. Both that Raiden image and the Scorpion one. Okay, interesting usage of colors in this. Do we have a different artist drawn for these? Because the characters look vastly different from the previous one that I just read. I was say, Scorpion just sitting down reading a book? Seeing the shape of Scorpion's head here actually doesn't make me feel bad when little stuff is off in my own comics. It's a professionally drawn comic that made a decent amount of money, has its own flaws in it. I'm sort of taken aback. They have to have a completely different artist doing the artwork in this comic. It's a similar style, but the actual drawing is different. Like the style of painting is similar, but the actual like drawing and form and shape is entirely different. I like how okay, Raiden just appeared. Alright, I'm not gonna lie. When looking at this page here, the reason why I even zoomed in and it caught my surprise was I had thought that Raiden just like appeared from behind this little tree or mountain or whatever. I just thought Raiden just like appeared behind Scorpion just doing this to alert him. I don't know why that was funny to me that Raiden would do such a thing, but now I see the lightning strikes and whatnot in the background, so it makes more sense. I couldn't tell what was going on in the back at first. I dismissed it. But I don't know why Raiden just peekabooing around the corner was hilarious to me. So apparently opening this book is like extremely important because that was mentioned in the last comic that I just looked through. There was a page in there where Raiden, Goro was talking to Shang Tsung about how he opened the book yet, and Shang Tsung was like, almost. Apparently, Scorpion was about to open the book, and Raiden just stopped him. So that explains all of this going on. Apparently, it's not a good idea to open this book and read it. And of course, Johnny Cage is the one to find the actual book and start reading it. I think the last time I did one of these, I talked about how I'm amazed with comic book pages that can just have a ton of panels on a single page and not really seem overwhelming. Or maybe it could. I've never really had more than like 6 panels in my own. But people who completely disregard that and put as many panels as it needs to be in a page to get whatever message they're trying to get across, I'm always intrigued and impressed by that. This page is like 1, technically 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 panels. Okay, Sub-Zero shows up. And he immediately gets his ass kicked. Great. My favorite Mortal Kombat character shows up. He's immediately getting punched in the face. This is fantastic. It's almost like the video games and the commercials for Mortal Kombat now, where it's always just Scorpion beating up Sub-Zero. And he froze them. I was just sitting here thinking, oh, I really like how the ice looks on the page. Oh, Johnny Cage and Sonya are blocks of ice now. I like how they did that, though. This one thing I also want to pay more attention to is how people use onomatopoeia. I've started to get in the mindset of, with my own comics, sort of, because I don't know, there's a lot of reading other comics to talk about my own, by the way. But I've gotten a mindset of like not using as much onomatopoeia, not just because I don't know what word to make up to describe a sound, but I feel like it would be best to leave sound up to the reader a little bit more. Like there's some instances where I feel like I can get away with a whoosh or pow or something like that, but I don't know, sometimes where it's just like I feel like leaving this noise up to the actual reader would be best because I can't come up with anything. And it's like whatever I come up with, the reader's going to have their own interpretation of sound anyway, so I should just trust it to the person reading and leave it up to them. Once again, it could be a case of me just thinking too much, I'm not sure. Okay, he says ice. Of course Sub-Zero would get this riddle. What bridge is built without any stone or wood? Ice, and the Iceman gets that one. Gotcha. Who are these guys? There's brittle arms on Shang Tsung there. I didn't even think they were arms at first. They look like tree limbs or something. Definitely did a great job of making him look old and brittle. Oh, he's about to fight them. And I believe he's taking their souls. Ah, in the living forest. Nitpicking here, but I wish they had the faces on the trees. But it's still cool that they threw that nod to the games inside of here. They're very calm to have guys like that chasing them, by the way. But I guess if you're fighting Mortal Kombat, you've seen enough crazy stuff at this point. Oh my god. He stabbed Liu Kang in the back? Well, of course he did. He's Kano. What am I saying? They made the blood black, really, in a Mortal Kombat comic. They censored the blood. Why is his legs crossed like this? Why is his legs crossed like this when he got stabbed? Such a weird position to just fall in. And they continue to draw him in this pose. I'm sorry, I don't know why that's even funny to me. It's like he gets stabs in the back and his legs just do this and he just falls over. And everybody's trying to get this damn book. Isn't a tournament supposed to be happening? Once again, we have a different artist, but this looks closer to the original. I'm loving the spikes in Johnny Cage's gauntlets, by the way. I don't know why it's a cool touch. Alright, the way lines are being used in this style is... I don't know if it's a little more outlandishly done here. Like the lines are just crazy in this page. But I don't know if that's really the style of how this artist draws in particular. Or if it's Johnny Cage, so they're just doing like crazy stuff with the line quality. Okay, Kano just down punched somebody. An entirely different series of books. And they're still talking about this goddamn book. What is it called? The Tao Te Ching? I think that I'm probably butchering that. I don't believe those are the same artists as before, but okay. There we go. Ah, that's the characters on this page. We got Melina, who I'm almost positive has a mullet underneath this headband. Ah, Jax. Ah, nice. And it functions as the freeze attack for the game. I like this. Froze him in place, jumped at him, kicks him in the face, and breaks the ice. I will say, they're doing a lot of talking mid-fight, like mid-attack. He said like 3 sentences in the act of jumping in the air and kicking him in the face. But you have been a most worthy adversary. You have fought bravely with considerable skill. It will be an honor to add your name to the list of warriors who died in battle with Sub-Zero. He said all of this as he kicked him in the face. What is with me? I'm like, did I click on every comic that Sub-Zero apparently gets beat up on? Like, what is going on here? Okay, there's a reptile sighting in the background here. All this chaos going on in this panel, by the way, and Sonya's just concerned with finding Kano. One track mind on her. And Sonya's getting captured. Ah, Sonya's fighting Melina, just like in the movie that came out this year. Once again, use of silhouettes. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna abuse that, but I am gonna start doing that. Just use as much details as I can to make you know who you're looking at, while getting away with just having a silhouette so you don't have to drop it. So just as a time saver, like you can get a lot of action in on a page without having to put in a ton of detail. See, like this, like Woomph and Badumph on the other page, like stuff like that I just really would rather leave to the reader's mind, just because I don't know how well I am at onomatopoeia personally. Because after a while, I feel like I just keep using the same sounds because in my head, it's the same similar sounds. Goro definitely looks menacing on this page. I love how Goro either takes up a lot of space on the page or you just see him towering over everything else. Eesh. Baraka's getting messed up by Raiden. Okay, makes sense. And Shang Tsung has his hands on the book. Oh, Scorpion has his hands on Sub-Zero. Oh my god, so you mean to tell me Sub-Zero has been getting his ass kicked for the vast majority of these comics? Oh my god, it's Kitana. I just looked at it because I've seen so much Melina so far in this comic. I assumed that was Melina till I picked up on the fan. Oh, and it's evil Kitana. Guess she doesn't really know the truth just yet. Oh, apparently she's not evil at all. She's doing her own thing. That is a badass page for Kitana, by the way. Like, she just shows up, immediately starts kicking ass, and it's like, cool pose. I like this. I also like how elegant this looks, too, considering it is for a princess and whatnot. Like this. Also, not a lot of detail in the backgrounds of some of these pages, just enough for you to pick up on where they're at. But you're not seeing too much there. In some cases, there's no background at all, like in these last 4 panels. More use of silhouettes. Oh, is that a young Liu Kang? I love how, like, take here for instance, all these lines and detail in Liu Kang, like showcasing his muscles and the size of him and everything. It's a cool pose and whatnot. And then here is no real lines or any type of definition whatsoever. Like, he looks so frail in comparison here. Masterfully done. I love the detail in Reptile's mask. Like, Reptile looks awesome in these comics. And he has the book. Why can no one keep their hands on this book? And here's Raiden. That is a creepy smile on him. A very creepy smile. Holy crap. More silhouettes, by the way. A lot more silhouettes. Okay, so Goro apparently solved the riddles of this book, so he has all this power now, as if he needs it. And Shang Tsung and Raiden are together working against Goro. This is crazy. This is freaking crazy. And the book is destroyed and rejuvenates. And the tournament is just over. Was there even a tournament? Kung Lao refers to himself in the third person for some reason. Okay. I will say, in looking at these comics, the main takeaways that I think I'm getting from this is outside of like the use and placement of onomatopoeia and text and whatnot, and not being afraid of the amount of text to use on a given page, and there are various sizes and whatnot too. But the use of space in this series is a lot better, way better than what I currently do in mine. I sort of box myself into the confines of my panels, and these outright don't. It looks like they have a sort of image, or they have a, how do I put this? They have an image or a picture or a drawing in mind, and then the panels are sort of around that picture. And there's direct examples back to back of this. This panel here with this image, and then the panels around it, with this one actually covering up the first panel. And then this one with this guy, whoever this dude is, sort of breaking the page as far as the other ones are concerned. And then the use of effects too. I really like those. Does this guy have 6 arms? And he's fighting Sub-Zero. Didn't notice this before. Their depiction of the courtyard, I think, looks really cool. Like, that looks awesome. That looks really freaking cool. And then the courtyard's just gone. But it's like the focus is on the action, so we're not putting details into the rest of the environment. That's actually, at least that's how I'm interpreting it as. That's not a bad nugget for me to sort of take away. Maybe I should have did that more with Infinite Uppercut instead of wasting as much time as I have putting details in so many panels that may have been unnecessary, maybe even distracting. I don't know. The key is Sub-Zero freezing this poor guy, this poor 6-armed guy. Oh, is this the guy Sang? Like I said, I love that character design, by the way. Just solely basically did highlights on a black image of Shao Kahn. That's cool. Now I'm actually going to stop here. This is just going to be more or less more of the same. But this is very interesting to sort of look at this. I've been looking at so much manga recently. It's really nice to look at something that's in a totally different vein and style from what I've been looking at for the past, I don't know, month or so. So this is pretty cool. And especially considering it's such a unique way of doing things. It's not even remotely in the same vein as the works that I've been previously seeing, like, or anything that I've recently read at all. But go ahead, like and subscribe if you haven't. Let me know what you thought about this entire sort of journey into Mortal Kombat Comics that I took today. You all have a good one, and I'm out.